Hello everyone and welcome into the channel. My name is Brent. I wasn't going to make a video about the markets today on 20 November 2025, but it was a pretty insane day with much movement to the downside and upside all within 24 hours. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the markets today, talking about my opinions on it, and then going into why I sold QQQI and SPYI today and rebought them, saving thousands of dollars and increasing my yearly and monthly income by a substantial amount. So with that said, if you guys are brand new here to the channel, definitely go down below, subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you guys enjoy this video, and also drop me a comment if you have any questions or comments on other types of videos you'd like to see on the channel. Or join the Discord server. The link is down in the pinned comment down below. There's also some other goodie referral links to get some bonuses as well. With that said, let's go into chatting about today's market. Now, it looks very red out there in the market on close here on Thursday, 20th, 2025. But what I wish there was is a little meter here at the top where it shows from opening to close, where you can kind of slide it and see the movements here on the day. Early on in the day, everything was green. The S&P 500, if I move over here to TradingView, we closed Wednesday here at 662 essentially, and then we had Nvidia, OpenDesk earnings, and the market opened up essentially 1.5% higher on open on Thursday. There it is right there. From open around 6:30 up into about 7:40. So about an hour and 10 minutes into the trade day, it had gone up an additional 0.35%. Now, there was nothing out there in the market to kind of showcase any sort of negativity, but with so many, there's liquidity issues, the Fed potentially not cutting interest rates, there was a Fed speaker talk about the recession woes, unemployment, and so many other just kind of negative chatter out there kind of going on. This wasn't going to hold, right? We have a lot of downside momentum, and the S&P 500 has already closed well below the 50-day moving average here at 669. It's closed below it within the last few days and continue to kind of trend lower and lower. Today, yes, it opened well above that 50-day, but there was no signs that it was going to hold. It just blew right on through didn't even act as support and continued trending lower and lower. Now, here we see from top to bottom, there's still quite a move here to the downside if we do end up moving back down to 200-day moving average. But I don't see that happening right now. I believe we're close to about 5% or so off all-time highs, which is a normal pullback, right? This is a normal pullback. If we look at the charts over the last 5 years, looking at the S&P 500, anytime you do any sort of, you're running up a hill, you always have to stop, take a few extra breaths, cough a little bit, and then, get some more air in your lungs and continue moving higher. These little incidents do take place, especially in times where market is doing, market's going well. Here we had a golden cross. Here it looked just like very similar performance here in 2024, right? We had that golden cross taking place just as we had here in early 2025. Market moved higher. End of the year, it kind of sold off a bit. It had a low, you kind of went and retested, didn't quite make those highs, sold off, double bottom, and then continued moving higher, right? We were below 50-day. We even touched below 200-day moving average in some point towards end of 2024, but we continue moving higher. Earnings in 2025 are going very well for a lot of the AI companies, showing good earnings. Not a lot of negativity as far as company earnings are concerned, right? So right now we are moving. We have a little bit of fear out there. Volatility is high, and there's a bit of a sell-off, right? This is an opportunity here, well below the 50-day moving average. It could well be another opportunity below the 200-day moving average. I have some graphs I'll go ahead and show you here in just a minute, but jumping over here to the main highlight of today, I sold out of my SPYI and QQQI and rebought in later today. So I'll go ahead and share some of the numbers of my sells. So I sold out today at, oh yeah, from top to bottom. Yeah, I want to kind of showcase this. So yeah, we opened up 1.5% in the green today, and then went up that 0.35 before selling from the high of the day to close. We went down a whopping 3.4% on SPY. So nearly a 3.5% difference from the highs to the lows today. That is very rare for intraday. And then talking about the S&P 500, the 200-day and the 50-day, we're well below the 50-day now and continuing to close, showing signs of weakness. Now, as I said, we could trend a bit in this 50-day area, right? We can go up, we could retest, hit some resistance at that 50-day, go back down, come back up again, use that 50-day as resistance. And it may happen a few times. We may eventually break down if there's any sort of negative news out there, but this is just an opportunity for potentially buying long-term, right? Buying up those shares. Now, if we're looking at that 200-day moving average down at 614.09, I went ahead and I couldn't get it very close here, but you can see here, it's roughly about a 5.6% move to the downside. We've gone down roughly 5-6%. An additional 5-6% would put us back at that 200-day moving average and still be net positive for the year if you've been investing since early 2025, right? So we'd still be net positive. It would just be a correction territory at that point and not much of a pullback, okay? So yeah, that's talking about the market. Now, as I said, let's jump into talking about my sale in SPYI and QQQI. So earlier this morning, I took a look at the charts and there was so much pressure to the downside and not a lot of news, right? The market was just bleeding out. So I went ahead and used this opportunity to sell out of my SPYI and QQQI. So you can see here, I liquidated 2,849 shares of SPYI, 2,936 shares of QQQI, and they both filled in here at $52.49 on SPYI and $54.37 on QQQI. So my SPY, we can see here, oh, wrong chart. Yeah, let's bring this one. Okay, so I sold out here at $52.49. You know what? I can go ahead and you can see here. Yeah, there we go. Now you can actually kind of see it all in one page here. So I don't want to do too many edits and such after this video is done. But I went ahead and sold out of my shares at $52.49. So right here, I saw that weakness kind of going on, right? We gapped up early in the morning. I felt like there was a lot more downside or even a retest of where we closed Wednesday. So I decided to kind of liquidate my shares at $52.49. The market sold off 2.17% before I re-entered. So I re-entered again I began buying back in, right? I don't want to try and time the bottom. As long as I get a percentage difference to the downside, that I'm completely happy with averaging down, buying additional shares. And it saves me a lot of equity when you're dealing with larger amounts. So here I was able to rebuy back shares. So I purchased 2,900 shares this time at $51.38. So I shaved $1.10 essentially from my share count. Now, normally that wouldn't be a big deal, right? You're shaving $1 off a share, but when you're talking about 2,900 shares, that's shaving down $3,000 worth. So I repurchased back up at $51.35. So you can see right here, I wasn't trying to time it, 51.35. I didn't catch the bottom and it continued to downtrend from there even further, but I didn't know, here I still saved myself a shave down of 2.17%. I re-entered, picked up all the shares that I'd priorly sold, and grabbed an additional amount. Then I went ahead and also re-entered back into my QQQ. So the same amount of shares that I sold out, that 2,936 at $54.37. On the Qs, I was able to save nearly $2 here, right? $52.77. I picked up a substantial amount. Look at the difference here. I sold QQs at $159. I bought the exact same amount of shares for $154. So that was a shave right there of nearly $5,000 difference right there, just between selling here and buying back in here. And then I continue to use the difference of equity that I kind of had built up between the sales of these and the repurchase these, and continue to buy in at where I felt maybe the market was going to be recovering, right? Here's my initial buyback in on SPYI at 51.38. I purchased additional shares here at 51.44. Purchased additional shares here at 51.60. Oh no, here SPYI. Yeah, okay. 51.60. And then it started selling off. 51.21, right? So it continued kind of climbing. I was like, okay, well, I didn't quite buy the bottom, but hey, I'll buy a little bit more, kind of average in. I'm still buying well below where I sold at prior. So I was able to average down and buy back quite a bit of shares, but the market did sell off here and then did actually pop back up just a little bit after hours. Now, same thing with the Qs. QQQI, I sold at 54.37 and started buying back in at 52.77. So I can go ahead and take a snapshot of these and move over to my QQQ page right here. Oh, cancel that. There we go. So once again, I sold out of my QQQ at 52.77. So 54.37 is where I sold out, right there on the right up here at the top. I sold out at 54.37. Once again, I didn't know where it would hit, right? I thought we might have some market recovery. Couldn't quite grab the bottom, but I knew I saved myself 2.95% from where I had sold and where I was buying back in. So that's nearly a 3% difference from where I sold out. When you're dealing with $100,000 or more, that's $3,000 that 3% could have shaved off my total shares. So I started buying back in those Qs at 52.77 right here. So 52.77. And then once again, it looked like it was moving higher, but it continued trending lower. After hours, the Qs and the SPY is up after hours. So we might see a little bit of market recovery in on Friday. We'll see how that all goes. Now, using the sale of these purchases here, you can see I went ahead and used trackyourdividends.com. I like to kind of use this website to enter in what I sold at. So I sold my SPYI, the majority of all my shares here. You can see here, if I go back to my sheet number 2, I sold 28.49, 39. Let me go ahead and see here. Yep, there we go. There we go. So I sold my SPYI. I sold 2,849 shares and 39, rounded up to 0.4 at $52.92. Oh, filled. Let's see. This is before selling. Oh, here we go. Average cost price. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong area. This is the number of the current price. Okay, so I sold that at $52.49 of my SPYI, and then I sold QQQI at $54.37. Now, if I had stayed in these and just not sold, right, I just held on through the downturn that took place today, we can see that my annual income with these holdings was $39,207. I was making $3,267 a month with these specific holdings and all of that, right? But because I sold and then started buying back in, here's the event after the buyback in. So after I sold out and bought back in, from that point on, I lost 3,371. So there's a much difference here, right? I went from being down 11,021, so 11,021, to after the sale only being down 3,371. So I was able to kind of have a net difference of $7,650 in not have negative loss right here. Just kind of sold, waited, and re-entered, shaving off $7,650 of loss to the downside. And when I went back in and purchased back in, I was able to pick up much more shares. And I also added some additional equity into the markets. That's why there is a big difference here between my 298,000 in here and my 316,000. I injected a little bit more capital as well afterwards. But you can see here the differences here that our income yearly had gone up from 39,207. Let's see, I should actually do the other number first. So let's see, let me get my calculator back up. So our yearly income now is sitting at, with these holdings, 41,447, and prior, it was 39,207. So the difference that I was able to, from selling and rebuying back in and injecting a little bit more equity, right? I saved myself roughly $7,000 in equity from that shave, and then I re-injected it into the markets along with a little bit more equity as well. I was able to increase my annual income here by $2,240, which over the course of 12 months, that averages out to an increase of $186 per month extra. You can see here that my income before selling was $3,267, and then after I bought, it's now $3,454. So if I do 454 minus 3,267, there's that $187 difference that I make on average per month. Plus, if the market does have some recovery tomorrow, I'm really, it sucks to be down 2.34% in the Qs and 1.46% in the SPYI, but it's really not too far off of, the market's already recovered a bit of these after hours. And if it does move higher, wonderful, right? I have more shares. If it moves down lower in a faster motion, I can kind of continue doing this process, increasing my annual income, shaving off my losses, increasing my overall yearly and monthly income. And I talked about this in my other videos that anytime I can sell off a piece, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't even have to be in the amounts that I sold off today. I just felt that with the gap up this morning of 1.5 points, we had to give back something. So that's why I went ahead and took the opportunity to liquidate my holdings and buy back these in, shaving off a substantial amount of loss, buying back more shares, increasing my annual income, monthly income. I still hold and never sold my BTCI position. I still own that one. That's within my account as well. But there's no big change there. As far as loss, it's down a substantial amount, like 10 or so percent. So, but it's still better than holding on to Bitcoin overall through Coinbase. So I'm not worried about that. My 1 month return I was taking a look at is down 2.96% over the past 1 month. And over the past 3 months, I'm still net positive over the past 3 months. So if the market continues to sell off, obviously we'll be net negative. But overall, I'm not too worried about the selling pressure. There's always opportunities like these. I'm not always looking for a difference of 2-3%. If I can get a difference of anywhere from 0.15, right, 0.15, 0.5, 0.25, even 0.5%, those make a big difference, especially when you're buying in large quantities. And when the market acts as it did today, where it gapped up and then showed signs that it was going to be selling off throughout the day, I don't time the market. I just look for the opportunity. And when it did begin to recover, I didn't want to try and time the bottom, trying the top, and just kind of bought back in. But overall, it worked out really well for me. So that is all I wanted to kind of showcase and share in this video of why I sold out of my SPYI and my QQQI today, then rebought back in, saving thousands of dollars and increasing my yearly and monthly income. If you guys have any comments or questions for me, drop them down in the comment section below. Also, I have a free Discord server that's growing. There's only a few of us in there at the moment. If you guys would like to chat one-on-one or discuss other financial matters and just talk about your personal experiences, definitely join via the pinned comment down below. That is all. Thank you all for watching. If you guys want to follow along on my journey in building a powerful passive income portfolio, then definitely subscribe. Give this video a big old thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next time. Bye-bye.